What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Uh, Make sure to like and subscribe as you uh, tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on Milaysia Fulwiley. So, as you might have already heard, she has entered the transfer portal. And so now it's official. Milaysia Fulwiley is going to end up with another team, right? And so before she made this decision to move to another team, I made a video and I was questioning, like, should Milaysia Fulwiley move to another team? Because of how good she is and the fact that, if she was with somebody else, she would be starting and she would get more time. So now it's official. Now she is moving to another team. And so, you know, this for basketball, this is all new. This transfer portal thing is all new, and it's different from what we're used to seeing with basketball players and college athletes, as far as them having to, a lot of times stay. They wouldn't move from a team unless it was really necessary, because they didn't have as much leverage as they do. Back in the day, a player like Milaysia Fulwiley would have probably had to, once she did her sophomore season at a school, she probably would have had to, most likely would have stayed, because she would have lost a year of eligibility, right? But now that's not the case, and it's a new age. And so basically, do I think this is a good decision for Malaysia to leave? Um, yeah, yes. I mean, she gave South Carolina 2 good years. She had a champ. She helped them win a championship there. Uh, she was the sixth man of the year. She won that award, and she had, some other accolades that she won. And I can kind of understand her frustration with probably not starting and getting as much playing time. On the other hand, with a coach like Don Staley, Don Staley's demands and her requirements for her team are are higher, or not well, they're high, right? And she expects certain things from a player like Malaysia. She wanted her to make better shot selections. She also, she wanted her to play better defense, stronger defense. And so Malaysia did, in my opinion, get better in her sophomore year than she was in her freshman year, as with her shot selection, and she was better on defense, right? But I guess she felt like she didn't want to take the chance of not starting and playing six man again, especially when you had, I forgot the young lady name, but you got another young lady coming from Florida State who is the number one scorer in Division I women's college basketball. And then you have Raven Johnson, who is still, so Malaysia probably, she'll probably would have been a six man again, and so she was like, I can go somewhere else. I can start, and any flaws or any imperfections she have in her game, she could just work on that, while she's playing. So, it's I think it was a good decision for her to leave. Although, had she stayed, it wouldn't have been a bad decision either, because she still would have been reaping the benefits of playing for a nationally ranked team, playing for a great coach, and she, and still probably would have been able to, get better, but she wouldn't got as much time, which is crazy for somebody to be as good as her and still have to come off the bench. But that's a testament to the amount of talent that Don Stanley and South Carolina have, on that team with that program. So Malaysia, yeah, she's going to take her talents elsewhere, and she's going to, you know, she's going to get better with somebody else. I think that like, and I like Dawn Stanley, and I think she has a great program there, but she's not the only great coach in women's basketball. There's a lot of good coaches around. So Malaysia be able to go somewhere else and get better, work on her game. I think that either way, it was a for Malaysia, whether she'd have stayed at South Carolina or with her leaving, she still is good enough to play, professionally. So her probably, what she probably more focused on is just being able to get more playing time, and get more playing time and getting better, at her craft because when you're so used to being the sixth man all the time, like certain skills you may not develop because Don Stanley would have probably more likely used her like in situations like say like when the team was getting off to a slower start. Then she looked for Malaysia to come in and give the team a spark. Whereas though if Malaysia is playing for another team and she's out there as a starter, it would be different. She would be one of the ones who would be um looking to get that starting five off to a better start. And so she would have a different kind of feel for the game. And and the fact that she was the sixth person coming off the bench for a couple years at South Carolina. And then, like I said, and most likely wherever she go at, she's going to start. So she'll have experience with both roles, like, coming off the bench, logging, solid minutes, or starting and logging solid minutes. So I think I think it's a good decision. You can't really if I was in her shoes or if I was her parent or somebody who was advising her and she said that she wanted to leave, like I wouldn't have made the decision for her, but if she said she wanted to leave, then I would support that because she gave South Carolina a lot, she made a large contribution to South Carolina's program. She made big sacrifices for 2 years. And so when now it's an opportunity for her to look out for herself, and she got 2 years to do that. So you can kind of understand why Malaysia Fulwiley would want to go somewhere else and play, you know. And her decision to leave South Carolina, I don't think that it comes as a shock to Don Stanley or anybody on that coaching staff with with her situation. I don't think it's a big shock. I don't think nobody's surprised because even myself, and I'm not even affiliated or close to that program. But when I saw this season that she still wasn't starting, I was like, yeah, this probably going to be her last year, just because of you know, just because of how much talent she has. And I know that if she go anywhere else, she's gonna play. But I think it's also good that Malaysia Fuwali, she didn't make any she did her best. She tried to do what Don Stanley and had asked of her. She gave the team what the team needed when the team needed. And so, that's a big, plus for her that she's willing to play, team ball and be unselfish and give the team what the team needed. Now, it's time for her to go after or put herself in a situation where she can learn other skills from, develop her game from a starting standpoint. Whereas though, this year, like I said, with that young lady coming in from Florida State, I forgot her name. I did a video about her, but the young lady coming in from Florida State, number one scorer in the country. No way that she's gonna go to the no way. This girl from Florida State can just fill it up, and that's what South Carolina need. They needed somebody who can score like that, on a consistent basis. and like a number one score. They had balance. South Carolina did throughout the team, but they didn't have that one person like a Juju or the young lady that's at what's the young lady at Notre Dame? The guard, I forgot her name. No, not Pow Pow, because Pow Pow played for. Well, anyway, they needed a number one scorer, like somebody who was looked upon to carry most of the scoring load. Now, for Wiley could have done that, but again, for Wiley, sometimes her shot selection is not, what Dawn Stanley would like, and sometimes her defense is not what Dawn Stanley would like. So that's why she was, the sixth person coming off the bench. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad decision for this young lady to, to try to go somewhere else. At least she know what some of her, what some of the flaws are in her game, and then she could work on that somewhere else while playing more minutes. So I think it was a good decision for her to roll out. And yeah, so that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And with that being said, also don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video.